especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. You know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Blackness. Never say die. Never say die. Keep on. Never say die. Blackness.
In the midst of sorrow, you can't see up and looking down. A brighter day tomorrow will bring. Oh, you hear the voice of reason telling you this can never be done. No matter how hard reality seems, just hold on to your dream.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm your host and White House correspondent, not at the White House today, but enjoying sunny LA. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580. And there we are for your listening pleasure. Last but certainly not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast powered by KBLA. And that way, you'll never miss an episode. We'll always be right there with you in the palm of your hand. Now, look, we have a call to action for all of our leaders, learners, and listeners in the DMV area. The DC Freedom Run is going down. 10 a.m. Monday, September 1st, the northwest corner of 14th and U Street Northwest. The DC Freedom Run is happening. It is a protest against Trump's, what they say are Trump's fascist takeover of the district. Think DC bike party, but on foot. All runners and walkers and movers with shirts and signs are invited to take back our streets. Bring friends, bring signs, bring your energy. Kids and dogs are welcome. If you go to DC Freedom Run on Instagram, you can go ahead and sign up. Again, it's DC Freedom Run. It's happening this Monday, September 1st at 10 a.m., northwest corner of 14th and U. Be there or be square. All right. Now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. Kicking us off, Rolling Stone is reporting that Devon Walker exits Saturday Night Live after 3 seasons, saying sometimes it was toxic as HE double hockey sticks. Devon Walker revealed that he's leaving Saturday Night Live ahead of the show's season 51 premiere, taking to social media just this past Monday, writing that, quotes, me and baby broke up, and compared jobs in the industry to a bunch of little marriages. In an Instagram post, the comedian continued his marital analogy, saying, quotes, some of them last for a long time if we're lucky, but most of them are fleeting. Permanent until they're not. That's the deal. You know what it is when your sign is up. And so he is leaving Saturday Night Live. We have certainly heard stories of a number of Black folks that have been a part of the cast of Saturday Night Live that left unceremoniously. And so I'm sure more details will be coming out in the near future. But sad to see Devon Walker go, because he was one of the really good ones on SNL. I don't get everybody's humor on SNL, but I got his humor, and so I'm sure he has a bright future ahead of him. But moving along, now this COVID has not gone away, y'all. I need you to be cautious. I need you to wash your hands, do all the things. I was just talking to a contractor this morning who had to delay doing some work for me because he has COVID, right? And so it's just a reminder that it hasn't gone away, even though, we don't have folks walking around in masks, mandated mask, as was mandated once upon a time. It's still in the atmosphere. You know what else is in the atmosphere? RFK Jr., his FDA approved new COVID vaccines, but with restrictions. USA Today is reporting that the Food and Drug Administration has approved updated COVID-19 shots for fall, implementing the tightest restrictions on who can access the vaccines since they became available. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he announced the approval today on social media, saying that the emergency use authorization for COVID-19 vaccines has been terminated, and that the Moderna, Pfizer, and Novavax immunizations are approved for those at high risk. Under the updated approvals, only those over 65 and people with existing health problems will be recommended for COVID-19 vaccines. That's according to federal guidelines. And so if that's you, make sure that you make it a priority to consult with your doctor and get that vaccine, because who wants to be sitting around sick and not feeling well? Who wants that? Who wants to be sitting around with COVID? You don't want to be sitting around with COVID. So many of us have had it. And so it's not fun. And so do what you need to do. Moving along, on the LA Times is reporting that on the U.S. direction under Trump, Californians apparently are split sharply along partisan lines. According to this recent poll, California voters are heavily divided along partisan lines when it comes to President Trump, with large majorities of Democrats and unaffiliated voters disapproving of him and believing the country is headed in the wrong direction under his leadership, and many Republicans feeling the opposite. The opposite, according to this new poll. The findings are remarkably consistent with the past polling on the Republican president right here in the nation's most populous blue state. The same partisan divide also showed up in poll numbers on hot button issues like Medicaid cuts and tariffs, with Democrats almost uniformly opposed to Trump's agenda and Republicans pretty much on board with Trump, with what Trump is doing. And so, look, even 9 months in, almost 9 months into this administration, where we've seen mass deportations, where we're seeing, the federal takeover of the DC police, where we're seeing a rollback on so many things, that's still not enough to persuade Republicans away from supporting Trump. It's still not enough. And I think it's consistent with what I've said on this show and what I've said off air a whole lot, is that for Democrats to get out of the political wilderness, it's got to be about more than just saying we're not Trump. It's got to be about more than just saying we're not down with that MAGA life, right? They actually have to put a vision forward. But that's the world according to Nii-Quartelai Quartet. When we come forward, we're going to tap into the world according to Al Reynolds and the world according to Joshua Taborn. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-297-1563 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-297-1563. That's 800-297-1563. What do you have to lose? Call 800-297-1563. Again, 800-297-1563.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cow Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
I got my peaches out in Georgia, oh yeah. I get my from California, that's that. I took my chick up to the north, yeah. I get my light right from the source, yeah. Yeah, that's it. And I see
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, live here at Afternoon Drive Time in Los Angeles. But beaming in from Washington, D.C., we're joined with Al Reynolds, cultural architect, pop culture and entertainment contributor. Welcome back, Al Reynolds.
Thank you so much. I'm here with my peachy, so you call my peachy sweater.
It's very peachy. It's very peachy. Me and Justin Bieber, we agree. Also, Joshua Taborn, he is a former DC firefighter. He's also an elected official from DC. He's an ANC commissioner representing Ward 7 in Washington, D.C. Welcome back to the show, Joshua.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. And what's up, Al? I love the peachy sweater.
Well, and we're not going to talk about your waves, brother. I feel like I've been saying
later on in the segment. Okay, we're working on it.
We ain't even in a topic, and y'all already started. But
see what happens.
First things first. Joshua, I know as ANC commissioner in Washington D.C., you recently led a community walk. And, on this show, we pride ourselves in separating the fact from the fiction. There are a lot of headlines coming out of our nation capital. And so I want to give you an opportunity to share a little bit about what you've heard from folks on the ground in Washington, D.C. This is now week 2 of this federal occupation, as many people are calling it. What are the people of D.C., what are the Black people of D.C. saying about the state of affairs in our nation's capital?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. So the majority of my constituents are Black, mixed income, very, very, very wealthy to very, very not wealthy. And this community walk that I did this week was actually with MPD, our Metropolitan Police Department, so our actual local police department. And so the whole point of the walk was just to check in with residents, but I used it to check in with MPD actually. So I was, because the MPD officers that were present were all Black. And so I was just asking them, like, how do y'all feel? Like, what's going on? But to answer your question more specifically, the residents are in a consistent state of anxiety. Now, there's nuance to that, right? People appreciate that crime has apparently abated somewhat. It seems to have slowed down as far as, the noise complaints for the people riding the ATVs. People are saying they're not as fearful of carjacking. But what I've been hearing from my constituents is, at what cost? These things have happened, and yet I don't feel I'm happy they happened, but I don't feel more safe. In fact, I feel more scared. I feel more anxious. I feel more unsure. Or I don't want my kids going out. Or for the people who are around my age, I'm 37. I don't like driving no more. I don't want to drive in DC. You got to come to my house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and Al, I know that you also live in Washington, D.C., and you also teach in Maryland. As students are preparing to head back to school, what are you hearing, from young people? What are you hearing, from folks that are a part of the university community as folks are, getting ready to go back to school in this atmosphere?
Well, you know what? We're back in school. Both DCPS is back in school. The local colleges are back in school. I think it's just all of them have the same sentiment. A lot of the younger generation are feeling like it's overkill. A lot of the younger generation is feeling like it's performative. The younger generation is feeling like he is really using these scare tactics to trying to, send a message out to everyone as it relates to his power and what he is capable of doing. But what I find very interesting in this conversation is that it's clear you guys have seen and heard that the DC juries are rejecting every single thing that this man is playing. And in my mind, he's playing law and order with this federal surge, right? We know about the man threw a sandwich and the federal government wanted an indictment. Meanwhile, the DC jurors rejected the charges 3 times against everyday residents for so-called assaults to officers. And what is that saying? That's saying that the individuals in DC simply are not buying it. And what is so interesting to me is, of course, crime is down. Of course, crime is down. Who wants to go out on the street and have dinner, or who wants to go out and do anything in a city where every block you see 20 reserve members or the National Guard? Or you see, like I told you, Dr. N, that when I was going to dinner, I walked past 100 FBI and Secret Service agents having a meeting. Who wants to, as an African American, who we know that we can't walk the streets and be normal? And so we don't want to go to jail. We got to get our kids to school in the morning. We don't want to go to jail. We got to get to work. We got to make money. So, of course, crime is down in the city right now, as it relates to right now. But let's be very clear. Crime is down across the country. So the data is in. This downward slope of crime isn't anything new. So I'm not really sure, what's going on and why this narrative is becoming so sound and loud, in my opinion. To me, this at best is political theater.
Yeah, and it's political theater, but it has real life consequences. Josh, I know that you recently posted on social media a post that it felt very heartfelt. It was, in my view, a sign of the times. Really, you were sharing with people, what they should and shouldn't do, where they should and shouldn't go, in order to keep themselves safe. Can you share with our audience just a little bit of what you believe was so important to include in that post? And why did you post that? What compelled you to put that social media post up?
Absolutely. I'll make it as brief as I can. Number one, weekly screenshot your vehicle, insurance, license, gun license, anything that is a document that you would need to verify to law enforcement. Screenshot that weekly and share that with your friends. Don't just let it live on your phone. Share it with people you trust in the event that somebody else has to produce it for you. Second, use Waze no matter what. I know the city like the back of my hand. You give me an address, I know how to get there. I don't care no more. You need to use Waze because you need to know where the police are. Now, I'm not suggesting that you avoid the police or stop the government from enforcing the law, but use that as a reference point because regardless, a traffic stop is dangerous for Black people. We know this. It's more risky to drive through a traffic stop than to not. And lastly, a plan of action. Unfortunately, our people, Black people, are not as educated on how to hire an attorney. And they think, well, I'm going to call a lawyer. They don't know that when you call that lawyer needs $5K to start, $10K really to retain. And so start planning for the worst. I don't care how much of a law-abiding citizen you are, you need to plan for the worst. And the reason I was moved to say that was because we can't change what the federal government is doing right now today. I mean, we can change it over time through voting and the process, the civic process. But right now, we need to quell some of our anxiety with a plan. And I just wanted my people to have a plan. Oh, and last but not least, I share my location with my trusted friends. I suggest people do it as well. When you're driving somewhere, you need to let people know, I'm checking in with you. I'll be here at this time. If they're not there, something's wrong. We need to be more vigilant about loving each other and caring about what's happening.
I think that's beautiful, and I appreciate you sort of recapping that. Al, I'm going to ask you a big question.
Okay.
And this is about Congressional Black Caucus. We know that the CBC's annual legislative conference is coming up in DC the end of September. Should the CBC move forward with the ALC conference, as has been the case for decades, or should they consider moving it outside of DC, perhaps to Oxon Hill, Maryland, or some other place, in light of the climate, the temperature in Washington, D.C.?
Well, this is kind of like a loaded question, and thank you so much for giving it to me instead of Fireman Taborn. Okay, this is not fair, but I'm gonna jump right in. For me, just personally, not thinking about the unsafe part of it, right? I think we need to do business as usual. I think we need to still come into this city. I think we need to overtake the city, and I think we need to make a lot of noise. And the reason being is we have to stand for something or we'll fall for anything. And I think this scare tactic is a scare tactic to send a message to a lot of DC residents, especially Black and brown residents, who they are pointing the crime issue towards. And I think we need to come together like we always do, put the city, the mayor, and the president on high alert that we're going to be here, that you're not scaring us, that we're still going to galvanize our base. We're still going to talk about the issues, and you are going to be one of the primary issues in what you're doing to this great city. DC has always been a great host to the Congressional Black Caucus. Us moving it is us admitting to Trump that he has power over our influence. And that is the part that I don't want to give up.
Same question to you, Joshua Taborn. Should the Congressional Black Caucus ALC conference? Should it happen as usual? Should it be business as usual?
It should not be business as usual, but we're not moving CBC out of DC.
Right.
That's not happening. No. Now, if y'all want to throw like the New York party at my house versus Blackstonian, then that's cool. But no, I think Mr. Reynolds made the best point. This is why we have CBC. This is why CBC's in DC. Now, business as usual, no. I think adjustments should be made to protect the attendees.
Yeah.
Some things we can't change. We know the conference is going to be at the convention center, but the parties can probably be on the outskirts, maybe Northeast, maybe Southeast. I don't think the events and the convention are even going to look the same anyways. As a development professional in fundraising, the money don't look the same. And so we need to adjust our expectations anyways. The corporate sponsors are moving a little different.
Right.
Shout out to Target. And I just think as long as we encourage each other to be more thoughtful and safe and protect each other, i.e., you're not driving, do not drive to our event. Here's the metro, maybe book shuttles, stuff like that. I think we'll be all right.
Well, let me tell you who may not be all right. Gloria Gaynor, as in the when we come forward, I want to get Al and Josh's take on a headline that's trending. Gloria Gaynor apparently donated $22,000 to Republican causes since 2023, according to FEC filings. Will the love survive with Gloria Gaynor? I don't know. Al and Josh, they may know. And if you know, tap in. Get in the More Perfect group chat on YouTube if you're streaming live, or use the open mic feature on your KBLA app to sound off. More with these two when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming a More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
The audience is listening. Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside a More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. National Guard troops are in D.C., and President Trump says Chicago and California cities like Oakland could be next.
Donald Trump is just downright wrong about Oakland, like he's wrong about all the other cities that he trashed.
That's Black Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee. He's already ordered troops to Los Angeles, a move California is challenging in court with a hearing set for September. The NAACP is suing Texas over its new congressional map, claiming it discriminates against voters of color and violates the Voting Rights Act. The suit argues the maps dilute Black voting power and were drawn with racial intent. It also criticizes lawmakers for rushing the process without enough public input, calling the move unconstitutional. In Black Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson has declared a disaster proclamation to help the city recover from the powerful storms and flooding that swept through between August 16th and 19th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
In Santa Monica on the 10 East from 20th Street, it is loading up across Mid-City all the way to Boyle Heights. And in Camarillo on the 101 North at Springville Drive, a crash is blocking the left lane. And good news for drivers in Corona on the 91 East, just before Green River Road, that stall has been cleared.
Shop incredible end-of-summer savings at the Scandinavian Designs Labor Day sale. For a limited time, take up to 70% off select modern furniture and decor for every room in your home. Stop by one of our Los Angeles showrooms today or shop online at ScandinavianDesigns.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
22 players from HBCU schools will be on NFL rosters when the regular season kicks off next week. The 22 players survived the final cut on Tuesday when all 32 NFL teams were required to reach the 53-man roster limit. Two of the HBCU players made the Rams' final roster, wide receiver Xavier Smith of Florida A&M and cornerback Kobe Durant of South Carolina State. The highest draft pick this year from an HBCU school was Alabama A&M offensive lineman Carson Vincent. Vincent was a fourth-round pick of the Baltimore Ravens. Vincent made the Ravens' final roster. 3 players in the Ravens training camp who were not drafted in April made the team's final roster. linebacker Jay Higgins from Iowa, safety Ruben Lowry of Tennessee Chattanooga, and cornerback Keon Martin from Louisiana University. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready? Drop it! Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. You know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Imagine a world without heart disease and stroke, where every person has the chance to live a full and healthy life. Join us for a walk to save lives at the American Heart Association's Greater Los Angeles Heart and Stroke Walk, Saturday, September 20th at the Rose Bowl. Every step made and every dollar raised means more people learning CPR, more life-saving research, and more time with the ones we love. Sign up at heartwalkla.org. The LA Heart and Stroke Walk is sponsored by Optum, UCLA Health, Keck Medicine of USC, and Dignity Health.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me!
National news of consequence, informed opinion,
And analysis beyond the headlines.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
First I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong. And I grew strong, and I learned how to get along. And so you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face.
I don't know if it hits the same. I don't know if it hits the same. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai. I'm joined with Al Reynolds, one of our favorite pop culture and entertainment correspondents. He is a cultural architect, and he is with us again today, along with Joshua Taborn, who's a former DC firefighter. He's also a Washington, DC ANC commissioner. And we've been just sort of digging beyond some of the big headlines today. The one that has a lot of folks clutching their pearls is Gloria Gaynor. She donated $22,000 to Republican causes since 2023. This isn't over a long period of time. This is since 2023. When I say Gloria Gaynor, I mean Gloria Gaynor, the iconic voice behind disco classics like the one you just heard, I Will Survive. She's been channeling her influence into politics in recent years. The timing of these revelations, it coincides with Gaynor being named to the Kennedy Center honors. Y'all remember that? Trump decided to make her a Kennedy Center honoree. a choice that sparked discussion about how her legacy aligns with her political giving. Well, Donald Trump, who claimed he was 98% involved in the selection of honorees this year, he's expected to attend the ceremony. We all knew something was up when she was announced as an honoree. Al, I want to go to you first. Any love lost with Gloria Gaynor?
Well, I actually have a very personal story with Gloria Gaynor, believe it or not. We lived in the same building when I first moved to New York City. And that's one of the best things about living in New York City, because you get to live with people that you grew up listening to or idolizing or watching on television. So, but understanding this, I know that I can comfortably share this. I love the song I Will Survive. I don't know that I love Gloria Gaynor as much after I learned this. Like, I used to think that she was cool. I had great conversations with her. I did also understand, in getting to know her with living in close proximity to her, is that she's very much a religious Christian woman. So she feels like that plays a role in her not supporting the LGBTQ plus community as much as people think she should, because it is our community and the support of that song. Remember, I Will Survive, didn't just top charts. It became a survival hymn, especially during the AIDS crisis. It was a song that kept her relevant for decades. We lined her pocket. The LGBTQ plus community lined her pockets. So to see her give money and then be a part of the Kennedy tribute, that's the same party that just last year, Dr. Nii-Quartelai, passed over 500. I want to be very clear about this. 500 anti-LGBTQ plus bills. They introduced 500. So how can you just logically support that type of hate, in my opinion? And especially, how do you just smear it in our face as supporters who have kept you in that penthouse apartment, if you're still in it, over in New York City?
I mean, look, feels like a betrayal to me. Looks like a betrayal. Walks like a betrayal. It feels like a betrayal. I mean, you just laid that thing out, Al, how, more than Gloria Gaynor, her work has meant so much to so many people, and not just the LGBTQ community, but, I think I've heard stories of women who were escaping domestic violence situations, and it was songs like I Will Survive that gave them the confidence to move forward. And so, maybe it's a little bit of, when you meet your heroes in person, they fall short. I don't know. Josh Taborn, will Gloria Gaynor's reputation survive?
Unfortunately, I don't know that this will be news too much longer. Right. We have this thing about our cookout where we talking about you're invited to the cookout, when I really believe we need to start auditing who's already at the cookout. And this is obviously positioned. The Democratic Party needs to get real with how we message to the Democratic constituents. We believe, for whatever reason, still within the Democratic Party that because I'm a minority and I'm Black and they're gay and they're women, that we all coalesce and help each other out and believe in each other's civil rights. Mm-hmm. That is not the case. You know how many, Gloria, y'all surprised at Gloria? How many of y'all aunties act just like that? How many of us have been condemned for choices we've made that don't hurt anybody? And furthermore, she didn't write that song for the gays. She wrote that song because some man broke her heart. The gays picked it up because it spoke, and that's what art does. Art exists for itself. Art is ephemeral. Art is fleeting. And so the art spoke to the HIV crisis and the AIDS crisis and domestic violence survival and stuff like that. But she did not, God didn't come down and give her those words to make our rainbows brighter. And so it's okay that we adjust our expectations. So I look at Gloria like I look at my father who voted for Trump. What's up? Moving on. We got more work to do.
Commissioner Taborn, if I catch you dancing to I Will Survive, if it comes on at your crib when we do that party for CBC, I'm taking you down, man. I am going to take you down in your living room, in your house. You're going to have to put me out. You know what? It's the hypocrisy for me, because who's that artist? Not Let Us See, Cassette Michelle, that performed, and she was totally exiled, disinvited to many cookouts. She claimed she fell onto financial hardship because she could not book work. We need to keep the same energy here. We need to keep the same energy here, especially a part of the LGBTQ plus community, because you got to be really honest. Like, what other song do we know of hers, and why do we know it? That's the question. And it's clearly because the flag toters love it. We love it. We love it, and it's just a part of our experience. So to find someone who has a song that we've cherished and loved for 3 and 4 decades, to find out that she's secretly in bed with the enemy, it just infuriates me. So I'm just letting you know, sir.
I'll dance to the Celia Cruz version, but
you know what? I want to pick up on that point, Al, because I think there are folks who are maybe streaming this or listening to this, and they think, well, okay, she has a political opinion that may be different from ours, or maybe different from most, so what? I think part of what has rubbed people the wrong way, at least on the internet streets, in the past, Gloria Gaynor had downplayed her political involvement. And in fact, in 2017, she said that she, quote, was really not a political person, and avoided discussing policies until recently. Her only political donation was $35, a $35 contribution to Ben Carson's 2016 campaign. Well, that changed beginning in 2023, when she began making dozens of contributions to Republican figures. And so, and these weren't small dollars. A little over $2,000 to Speaker Mike Johnson, over $1,200 to Senator Josh Hawley, over $1,100 to Representative Jim Jordan. Other recipients were Senators Marsha Blackburn and Ted Cruz. And so, that's a pretty quick conversion for somebody who claims to not be very political and not to be interested in talking about policies. And so, it's the fake out for me. Josh, is the fake out for you too?
Yeah, let me be clear. I don't support what Gloria's doing, and
you better hope so, buddy.
I'm not messing with her. Okay, what I'm saying is, this is just not. I don't know. It's just not surprising to me. She's essentially saying, I didn't owe y'all nothing, even though my entire career is because of y'all. And the only thing we can do now is, the same thing we try to do with other Black artists that we attempt to hold accountable, like Bill Cosby and R. Kelly. Not comparing what she's doing to what they have been accused or convicted for doing. But at a certain point, I just don't understand why Gloria Gaynor is relevant today enough. I don't know why she's relevant enough today. And it is a fake out. And I think she's just pursuing the money. I do believe that she's okay with these ideals that she's supporting, maybe not at the extent that Mr. Reynolds is describing, but I'm sure somebody on her team was like, you want to, ferment your career, Kennedy honor, start donating this because the Trump is the future. We've seen it before, and we understand why people do this sometimes. Like, do we think Candace really believes everything she says? I don't know sometimes. Does she get money for saying the things she says? Yes.
Absolutely. Well, the shade here, though, see, this is a shade, and I'm about to be shady. The shade here is, as it relates to Gloria Gaynor, her money talks louder than her music, right? At least for right now. And for her to use that money to support stuff that's clearly against our community, to me, that woman's, she's playing the wrong key.
Yes.
The wrong key, the wrong note, the wrong tune.
All of it.
and can I just add, okay, so Gloria Gaynor's given over $22,000 to Republican causes. It seems to me that she may stand to lose way more than that in support by doing this. And so if this was really just about the money, right, that math don't math. Because as soon as word gets out that you're being honored at the Kennedy Center, not randomly, but because you are this closeted sort of,
Active
Republican
supporter.
donor.
Yeah.
I mean, ask Elon how his Tesla sales are. These people learn one way or the other, and natural selection. You do
one way or the other. But let me tell you who may have learned pretty quick, at least according to some, Cracker Barrel. They changed their logo. Remember that? They are reverting back to their old timer logo after mounting criticism over their recent branding change. The restaurant chain confirmed the new logo is going away. And the announcement came just a week after the Country Store unveiled a new simplified logo. Many customers were quick to decry the change, which, it prompted a response from President Trump. And so President Trump says, WTF, what the F is wrong with Cracker Barrel? This is what Donald Trump Jr. said in response to an X post. And they changed their tune really quickly. And so is this just what we should expect? Is this just sort of the game right now that, all companies out there, you make changes at the risk of reputational harm from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue?
No, let me tell you, I'm going to jump in here on this one because this one, I see clearly every single thing that's going on here. What happened was, and let's be very clear, we remember that Cracker Barrel was engulfed in this history of discrimination lawsuits. You remember that? It wasn't one, it wasn't two, it was many, like more than 10. And I think what happened was they clearly came together and said, hey, we got to do a campaign that's going to dwarf or neutralize this negative PR that we have around being discriminatory. They said, okay, let's hire a marketing agency. Let's change the thing that sits off the side of every highway. And then people will see that we're very sensitive to the issue of race and that we're not discriminatory. But then the president became the president. They had spent the money. They kept the plan in place. But when the president became the president, they said, what? We don't have to care. We don't have to care. We don't have to care. We don't have to be so sensitive anymore. So what do we really like? Who are we really? And they went back to that country bumpkin logo. I feel like that's how it went down, because it doesn't make any sense to change a logo of a company that age. It's millions of dollars. It's brain trust. It's meetings after meetings. It's campaign after campaign, focusing on how you can take this stain off around your discriminatory practices, right? And once you got a president that says, look, I don't care. This is a campaign where we don't have to be inclusive anymore. Hello, I'm President Trump. I'm cutting people's money who want to be inclusive. In fact, I'll support all the major corporations that aren't inclusive. So they're like, hey, why do I need to continue to pay for this campaign when I can go back to my little cruddy little logo and save some money?
Well, I'm going to tell you, those Cracker Barrel pancakes, they ain't going to taste the same. When we come forward, I want Josh and Al to stick with us just a little while longer. It's time for the quiet part out loud. The Advancement Project has reported that our silence will not protect us. No surprise there, but they've been tracking recent trends in anti-protest laws. I want to get Al and Joshua's take on the future of protest as we know it. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm LA City Councilmember Curran Price, inviting you to the 30th anniversary of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival, Saturday, September the 20th, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We've got 4 pavilions, 3 stages of live music, plus food, fun, and a marketplace all along historic Central Avenue between MLK Boulevard and Vernon Ave. Our featured acts this year are Gregory Porter, Pancho Sanchez, and Jasmine Horn at the 30th anniversary of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival. Saturday, September 20th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. along Central Avenue between MLK Boulevard and Vernon Avenue. Come out and bring the whole family because this legendary celebration is free. For more information, go to centralavjazzfest.com. I'm LA Councilmember Curran Price, and I absolutely approve this message.
September is World Alzheimer's Month, a time to shine a light on a public health crisis that deeply impacts Black families. 1 in 5 Black adults ages 70 and older is living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD, and the risk is twice as high compared to white adults. But AD isn't just forgetting a name or losing track of time. Signs of early AD could be repeating questions, missing appointments, or struggling with bills and daily tasks. These things aren't a normal part of aging. Here's the good news. Treatments are available that may help if AD is diagnosed early. If you notice changes in memory or daily routines, whether in yourself or a loved one, don't wait. Early diagnosis and intervention are key to managing AD effectively. To learn more about AD and a potential treatment option, visit treatalsearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com to learn more about the signs and symptoms and a potential treatment option. This message is brought to you by AZI.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you. Working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai in our remaining minutes. It's time for the quiet part out loud. Al Reynolds and Joshua Taborn are here with us. And look, I've been saying this for weeks and will continue to say that I really think the right to protest as we know it is on the line. And now the Advancement Project is backing me up with Our Silence Will Not Protect Us. They're tracking trends in anti-protest laws. Since January 2024, 103 bills, including 80 at the state level and 23 at the federal level, have been introduced or enacted across 27 states, seeking to redefine protests as a threat to public order rather than a constitutionally protected right. In our remaining minutes, Al, how concerned are you that our very right to protest is in the crosshairs of this MAGA movement?
Listen, I'm super concerned. But let's be very clear. The writing's been on the wall ever since Ferguson and the BLM protests. Remember, states began pushing back. No longer are you having Karens and Johns out here in the streets protesting certain things and the cops walk alongside them. But when it came to us protesting, especially that George Floyd protest in 2020, what did we see in 2021, Dr. Nii-Quartelai? We saw, like you said, over 100 bills across 34 states were introduced to restrict protesting. Why? Because they saw the effectiveness of it and the messaging that it gave our underrepresented and unheard community. So for you to create stuff like Florida did, the anti-riot law, get out of here, because you can decide what's a riot and what's not a riot. I mean, many people that don't look like us feel like if we more than 100 of us come together, we're getting ready to riot. So what does that do and how does that create? What has that created? In my mind, this is what we need to know. We still have a right to protest. However, we've got to be smarter on how, where, and when, because it's becoming so increasingly regulated, and they are very happy. And let me repeat this. They're very happy to put people like you and I that look like you and I in jail in handcuffs. But this is the kicker, Dr. Nii-Quartelai. It's not just about them arresting us, because remember back in the day, if you got arrested, you didn't walk out of the jail with a felony.
Yeah.
Now you walk out the jail with a felony.
That's
the ticket could now easily be a felony.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
I'm concerned about.
In about a minute, Joshua Taborn, what say you?
What I've been saying to my constituents, the way we protest, unfortunately, does have to change right now. It is too dangerous for poor people, for people of color, for minorities to be out there on the front lines willy-nilly with no plan of action. So we protest with our dollars and we protest with our boots now. Philanthropy, believe it or not, is not just for rich people. You know, penny donations and dollar donations to the ACLU and to very hyper local nonprofits that protect our rights and are in the rooms to push policy legislation and get information back to us is effective. Furthermore, where we spend our money needs to change. Boycott. And I know it's hard. And that's the whole idea, right? Black people in America are, in my opinion, the top consumers. When Black Panther came out and when all these Black movies came out, what happens to them? They do so well because we spend money.
Yeah.
And so when we start controlling where we spend our money and keeping it more hyper local, at some point the big companies suffer. And you know, unfortunately, right now we're in the oligarchies. The big companies are the ones influencing most of the policy.
It's 9 o'clock.
We'll have to leave it there. My thanks to our panel for joining us. Joshua Taborn, Washington, D.C. ANC Commissioner, former firefighter. Thank you for joining us. Also, Al Reynolds, one of our favorite pop culture and entertainment contributors, also a cultural architect. Thank you for joining us. Also, our thanks to the entire village helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tabitha Smiley. Our show producers, Faraji, Art, and Journey. And of course, Brother Andy, our sound engineer. And know that we curate the show each and every day with each and every one of you, our leaders, learners, and listeners in mind. Remember, don't panic, organize, do what you can from where you are with what you have. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.